What is up, Vector Marketing March Madness Maniacs? It is I, your co-host Jacob Kinnamore, here with what we will call an interview of champions. Yes, my co-host Dan Cassetta could not be here, for he was not the champion, but we do have this year's reigning champion, Mr. Kevin Donahue.
Cheers.
Great job, man.
Feeling good. It was a good tournament, and I'm glad with the way it finished.
Well, I just want to thank you. I get to rip Dan for another 29 years after this, but I'd love to kind of hear some tips for, future bracketeers, future champion wannabes, to the 102 losers that lost to you. What are some tips that you have when you were thinking about your bracket and things of that nature?
Well, some tips to the 102 losers. Especially make sure you're taking extra notes. Kyle Lopes with that putrid performance that you put together there as well. That was terrible. But anyways, going into this year, going into this bracket, there was a lot of talk about parity and that any team could win, and that this was the year where that so many different teams could win, and so on and so forth. I didn't really buy into that any team could get there. So I started to think about who are the best coaches. So if any team could win, I figure the best coaches were going to get there. So quickly, Kansas, great team, great coach. Obviously they were the ultimate winner that I put in there. Villanova, Jay Wright. I was like, okay, they're going to get in there. They can out coach Arizona if they end up with them, or whoever they end up with in the Elite Eight. So I put them in the Final Four. And I did think Gonzaga was going to get there, and I was not. I underestimated Coach K getting them to the Final Four, but I didn't think Gonzaga would win it all, which I know many did. So I knew I would take them to the Final Four and then have them lose. The biggest mistake I made was I had North Carolina in my first fill out go to the Final Four and then beat Duke. I had that happen. Then I looked back at my bracket and I go, at number 8 seed, that almost never happens. I'm probably going to be hurting myself a little bit here. Who's another good, blue blood team, good coach? And so I went with Calipari, who obviously, shit the bed in the very first round, which was great. And so I had them beat North Carolina ultimately in the Elite Eight and then go to the final game. So my picks would have looked much more impressive as a champion had I gone with that original plan. But all in all, that was kind of the thinking there, is who are the great coaches and who are the ones that are going to navigate this field with many teams that could win. So
nice. Well, much better than a Sweet 16 performance, Kevin. Much better.
Yeah. Certainly, Michigan putting another Sweet 16 in there to go along with their many Final Fours and championship game appearances, and that one title was better than I expected from my Wolverines this year. And I didn't even put them in the Sweet 16. I had them in the 32. I had them lose in the second round in my bracket. And don't like saying that publicly, but I did that, and we'll be back next year. So
now, did you have Ohio State advancing past 32?
Oh, of course not. No,
of course not. Okay,
don't do that. This is basketball.
This is basketball. Well, y'all beat them in football this year too. So
we did beat them in football this year. Yeah. Hopefully it gets back to being more of a regular thing. The overall series is still very close, but the last 20 years have not been so exciting for my Wolverines on the gridiron.
Well, I do want to give a special shout out to our Elite Eight. Obviously, we'll start from the bottom and go up. Number 8, we had Scott Dennis finishing strong. 7, Austin Manley losing the tiebreak to Nick Leindecker at 6th. And then we actually had our two of our hosts, Robert Gonzalez and Dan Cassetta, at 4 and 5. Robert winning the tiebreak there, and then Jeff Nixon at 3, Evan Price at 2, and your illustrious self.
Yes.
Number 1. So
Well, it feels good to be in the pool champion. I mean, I thought I was here, I think it's been, I was trying to figure out what year I started the pool. And I think it was like somewhere between like 17, 18 years. I thought it was 19, but I know I wasn't in the first couple of years that I was in Vector. And so probably somewhere around 17. And I did text Dan and say, I can't believe it took me 17 years to win this thing. Of course, knowing that, he's been running it for 29 and has not won this thing. So I could only imagine how that would feel. Cheers to the next 29 for him.
Well, obviously none of this happens without Dan too. And we love him for building this league. And
Amen.
That's what makes it so much fun to rip him. So hard.
It's great to have a huge pool with a huge following, and certainly something that Dan has passed on to you, and you have taken the mantle very well. But it's exciting to see it continue to be this big.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, and gracious champion as always. And looking forward to next year. Any quick predictions on next year?
I will predict that Kyle Lopes will again finish in the bowels of the pool in the back page. I don't want to go ahead and predict that he'll be last place twice. I think someone did that once and actually was last place twice, but I'll predict that he's on the final page again. And I'll go on a limb here and say that we're going from 29 to 30 for Dan in the non-victorious years of our original OG host there as well. I'll try to do my best to go back to back, but no promises there.
And I am predicting a round 1 win for the Peacocks again.
Peacocks coming back. I don't know how many seniors they had. I would assume a lot, but that's a pretty bold prediction right there. I will say Michigan will go to the Sweet 16 again, because that just happens pretty much happens every year. So I will throw that in there.
I'm glad we're counting those as other teams count their championships. It's great.
Yeah, there you go.
So, all right, Kevin. Well, stay classy, guys. Appreciate y'all.